One thing we want to move into next is maybe a bit of a touchy subject here in the MMA community because I know this loss hurt all of us. Like when I saw that it was such a good fight, but then the ending, it didn't feel right. So of course Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler is what I'm talking about. I mean Nick Diaz, Nick threw like what 100 over 100 shot like 100 punches or 100 strikes in the first round.
It was like over 140 in the first round,
Right?
something insane.
What he thinks he's Colby Covington now?
I don't
That
know, but that first round pace was
ridiculous.
absolutely unreal.
Well, he started off like looking really slow, and then it crescendoed into just something where it's just constant movement, and it was almost unreal. And Robbie Lawler was there, and he was walking down Nick for a lot of that too. But then kind of the ending fight sequence came when Nick Diaz, it looked like he broke his apparently he broke his nose. He was grabbing his knee for a second, but I think that was just like hold himself up. I got worried that something happened there. But Blake, the question is, did Nick Diaz quit?
Well, I mean, it basically he just kind of said he had enough,
Mm-hmm.
but he took some good shots in there. I think it was smart by him. He probably realized, like, hey, there's 2.5 more rounds of this left. Why take more unnecessary damage? My first
Mm-hmm.
fight back after what, 6 years off. So, I mean, he may have, quote unquote, quit, but I think it was the right decision at that moment. And, either he's going to come back and be motivated by this, or,
Mm-hmm.
that might have let him know, hey, that's probably good enough.
So you think he comes back? Because the crazy thing here is that if he won this fight, especially man how he won this fight, I mean maybe he wouldn't deserve it, but we all know the UFC, he would have been put near title contention. Where do you think he goes from here though?
Yeah, I'm
Is
not,
he
I'm not
still
sure.
is he still able to call out like some bigger names in the division,
I don't think he has the right to call anyone out. I think it's just kind of going to be,
or is he going to be
I
wait
see
to
it.
be called out?
I see a lot of people throwing out Cerrone's name, but
Mm-hmm.
is he going to be able to make 170? Like, that's the biggest question. Because what was the reasoning? Because the biggest thing
And
for
he came
me,
in at
like the biggest
185 and a
unknown,
half too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The biggest unknown for me is, why did this fight get moved up to 185? Why was there only 2 days notice basically
It was
for
weird.
it being,
I want
moved
answers
up to
for that.
185? So, and until and if we ever get answers to that question,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to kind of speculate and see and say yes, he's going to be back, or no, he's not going to be back. But if you're judging by his word, where he said, if I lose this fight, even if I lose this fight, I want to come back ASAP,
Mm-hmm.
then you would think that, yeah, maybe he does want to get another fight. And I think he said he has a couple fights left on his contract, so maybe he does fight that out. But yeah, I don't know if there's any lingering issues from this fight, or the training camp prior.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to kind of just wait and see. But no, I do not think he is going to be able to call anyone out. I think it's kind of just whoever gets lined up for him.
Do you want to see him fight again?
I mean, if he's going to look better than he did last fight, and I'm not saying he looked,
He didn't look
super
bad.
bad.
Well, he was throwing everything. He was just his defense was not there.
And he's never been a guy that's been known for power shots. He's always
Mm-hmm.
been a guy that's been volume and supreme cardio. And it looked
It's
like
death
this was
by a
the first
thousand
fight
cuts.
where it looked like this wasn't supreme cardio. Usually
Mm-hmm.
he's way able to outlast and absorb whatever's coming at him. But this fight, that first kick he threw was just weird. I don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
looked a little lazy. It's interesting, but it just looked a little lazy.
And the weird thing is, like, you remember, like the build up to this that he went through a practice camp and made 170 pounds. They posted on Instagram. They said he made it. Were
Yeah.
they
So I mean,
lying or was
well,
he?
because he looked cut in the
He
pictures leading up to that
he
too.
looked
So,
damn good on Instagram. At least take that with a grain of salt.
and it's
So
not like you're gonna, show up to work, and when you're getting paid and you have a guy literally trying to take your head off,
so that's what
you're
I'm
not gonna
thinking.
show
Almost
up to
like
the
maybe a
fight.
health thing had to have happened then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that you would do. There's nothing that you wouldn't do to get ready for that performance. And there had to have been something, holding him back, whether it be substances, whether it be health issues. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And I'm not the right person to speculate. So I'm going to let that kind of either come out
Mm-hmm.
to be found out one day, or just we'll never freaking know, which it probably is going to be the latter.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if we can find out like every secret of every like MMA secret, I'd be so happy. But I think MMA more than any other sport. There's so many like stories that just never get answered.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of tactical in some senses, but it also is just like, you know, you don't have the rules with like NFL where you got to put out an injury report and it has to be accurate and all that kind of jazz.
Mm-hmm. It it's weird when it comes to that. Of course, all this is just speculation, but at the end of the day, it's really curious of what happened there. Nick Diaz probably fight again just because he's a draw. He's a certified draw. It's just gonna be interesting to see who he does it against. Like you said, I agree. Like I don't think he's in the power to really call out someone, at least not a name. But the UFC gives him something, or if a fighter calls him out, then like say Jorge Masvidal calls him out, yeah, they're gonna make that fight 100%.
I don't think Jorge is on the table.
Well, hypothetically, like just say if Jorge for some reason called out Nick Diaz, that fight's happening. If Nick Diaz calls out Jorge Masvidal, that fight's not happening. Also, I just don't think Nick would. So, curious to see what.
He's even come out and said like, I don't want to, fight my brother's fights.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's mostly, I think, has to do with that. Not that
Sorry,
he doesn't
Jorge
want
was
to fight
just the
Jorge.
first name to come to my head because he's one of the most popular fighters.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like a Cerrone fight, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I think
I'm not saying no.
they're both kind of in similar ages and whatnot. So it
It
would be interesting to see that go down.
could give Cowboy the kind of right off into the sunset he's looking for. So we could see it from there.